Okay, streaming. Okay, looks like we are live. Let me just do the recording. All right. Okay. Hello, parents. Thanks so much for being here. This is Coach John from Learning Out of the Box, and today we have a very special guest, and we have the same surname. And many people may misunderstand that he's my father. It's our joke. It's a joke between us. Yeah. So he's Mervin Yeo, and he's the founder of Introverted Network Asia, as well as the founder and CEO of Quiet Impact Asia. Hello, Mervin.
Hi, good morning, John Yeo.
Hello, father.
Happy Monday.
Yeah. Hello, Mervin. Thanks so much for being here. And I know that for Mondays, it's a special day to clear your words. So thanks so much for blocking out the Monday for me. And I feel so privileged.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Okay. So, can you introduce yourself and share with us some backstory on how you started off this awesome work of getting introverts together and helping them to better understand their own strength? And this is actually how I got to know you also, because I am also an introvert.
Okay, welcome to the club. And so I've been involved with business owners since 1999. And so I ran a business networking organization for SMEs. When I say SMEs, they are really small, more than the medium enterprises. And so I could relate. I worked with them, help them network for business, for referrals. And then I left the organization in 2012. And that's when someone threw a challenge to me when I said, hey, okay, which group of people shall I help next? And so someone said, hey, he was teasing me and say, hey, you're an introvert, right? Go help the introverts, and he was ha-haing. And I took that quite seriously in the thinking. And 2 days later, I started at meetup.com, networking for introverts. Yeah. And so I wanted to share whatever experience I had on networking. And my objective was really to get the introverts from online to offline. Because there's a lot of misconceptions. There are introverts who may hesitate to turn up at networking events, and partly because they are overwhelmed by the number of people coming on at them. And so I just wanted to have a kind of, these are what they call, not me, a safe place, so that those in business can attend the networking event without being judged and without feeling overwhelmed. And of course, me and the host will be introverts like them. And so we can relate. And we try to have the meetups in place where they feel comfortable. Yeah, that's right. So it started off that way.
That's a great story. Wow. And I can see that you are definitely a fast action taker. Yeah. So today we're talking about how to bring out the best in our introverted child. So probably can you share with us what it really means by that, so the parents have a context on what we are sharing and why we are doing it for them?
Sure. Yeah. 2 ways I can approach this. One, of course, I relate more with while I relate more with the introvert business professionals. I myself am an introvert, and I have my family are mostly introverted. Yeah, and of course it's only to be honest, only when I started the Introverts Network did I begin to realize that, hey, there are a lot of things I didn't know what the introverts had within them. Yeah. And so when I reflect back on my challenges, and then I started appreciating, understanding why my children behave this way. My wife is a little bit more extroverted than me. The internal joke is that she's not introvert or extrovert, but she's a convert, because I made her from an extroverted person to an introverted person. That's an in-house joke. And so I began to observe that it's not very different. We may be, whether children or adults, the basic traits of introverts are the same, regardless of the age. So once we are aware of our strengths and of course some weaknesses everyone has, and then see how we can play up the strength, to our advantage. And so for the parents of children who are introverted, of course, one of the first thing I reflect on my childhood, growing up, I've got a lot of names they called me, and see whether we get to talk about that later, but definitely the experiences of my childhood growing
Mhm.
up as a shy, not just introverted, but shy introvert who didn't want to relate with other students.
Mm.
And so what do they call us? Nerds, At that time, I don't think there was this such a word in my time, but they definitely saw me as a bookworm, yeah, so they got a lot of names for me, studious, and I don't think they called antisocial, but they definitely saw me as antisocial.
Mm.
But what did I do during recess? I didn't join the games. I was reading or studying, finishing up my snack and drink, and I observed people. So I think these are just indication of how we go into starting to observe how our introverted children are like, and then see whether we can put them in an environment. Hopefully the school does the same. Hopefully the school does the same. But as parents, we have our responsibility right at home so that our children can realize that, hey, introversion is not a mistake. There's nothing wrong with us. It's something that happens in our brain. I won't go into the science of it because I'm not the
Mm.
expert here. But
Mhm.
there's something that happens, in terms of social interaction. We get overstimulated when we are talking to people, whether it's a few or large audience. And so this kind of things are, hopefully we can discuss over the next few minutes or so,
Sure.
that parents start to identify and start noticing, yeah, that their children are introverted, that there's nothing wrong with them. Um, yeah, so once they make the observation, it becomes very helpful when they have that relationship, that that trust, when there's no judging. So the child can be in an environment say, oh, okay, my parents don't judge me. Can you imagine if the parents judge them as being overly quiet, antisocial, something wrong with me? They're going to have a tough time in school. That's what I see. That's what I kind of experienced growing up, and I saw other children as I reflect back. So yeah, that's where I think we are coming from, knowing what our children are like, if they are introverted or not. Yeah.
So when you talk about observation, what are some of the things that parents can observe or take some get some clues on whether their children are introverts or extroverts?
Yeah. Okay. So the real marker for the introvert extrovert spectrum is that we all introverted in some ways, and we all extroverted we are all core introverts, but maybe extrovert in some ways. Like myself, when I'm on stage and when I'm speaking to large audiences. So when I come down on stage, 90%, 95% of the audience won't believe that I'm an introvert. And so there are a lot of misconceptions. There's at least 20, maybe 30 misconceptions about introverts, introversion. So we belong to a spectrum. It's how introverted we are on the spectrum. I used to be about 80+%. But because of adapting, nurturing, learning, role modeling, mentoring, that's when I go towards the 50 something 60, maybe 60 50 plus to 65% introversion. I become less introverted because I had to adapt and work with people. Yeah. So once you make this observation that they are quiet, they when they at home, for example, even in a home setting, they prefer to watch on their own devices by themselves. They don't really join in the movie night. They don't really join. Even if they go out in a group, let's say movie night outside at the cinemas, they rather focus on the movie rather than have a interaction and enjoying the popcorn. They like quiet. And so these are some observations. They attend family gatherings, and I'm one of them. I attend family gatherings. Even though I do talk to people outside, but when I attend family gatherings, I rather keep to myself. And my family gatherings can be quite large, 20, 25, 30. So it was quite overwhelming for me. So these children, they'll start looking, they'll be by themselves, they read their book, they look at their phones, and so they may or may not relate with their cousins, for example. Yeah. But because of the way we are, introverts will find friendly faces, that means familiar faces. They go to the cousin who understands and relates with them best and may stick to one for that occasion. Yeah, so these are some observations. They keep to themselves, they like to do their own reading, they are on the phone quite a lot. Yeah, and sometimes not to just interact, they just want to know what's going on. They like to read, they like to observe.
And I also want to quickly jump in here because as
Sure.
you're sharing, it also got me thinking and reflecting what happened to my childhood
Yeah,
because
I'm sure.
I am also an introvert myself, and also because of working, I have to adapt to the social environment. Yeah, so I got this comments from my aunties that in the past I used to want to be quiet by myself, alone, reading my own book. But I kept on getting this kind of comments from my relatives saying that, hey, don't be so antisocial. Don't go and mix around with your cousins. Go. Yeah. So I also felt pretty misunderstood at a point in time, and not knowing that I'm already overstimulated. Yeah. So what are some of the tips for parents when you observe that your child consistently keep themselves, and actually they're not being antisocial, they are just being themselves.
Yeah. So once, okay, one of the things that people talk to me about when I started this network, right? Of course, first is they say that, hey, introverts don't network, which is totally untrue, right? And then they call us wallflowers. They think that we don't really socialize. We do socialize very selectively. So when parents are aware that their children are introvert, I just don't want people to think that introvert, extrovert, label, and then you're there for life. And that's it. You stay in your corner. Or you're extrovert and we don't like you. That's not true. The reason why I started Introverts Network Asia and Quiet Impact is because I want introverts to connect with others. It is totally not to be antisocial, to be exclusive, to say we are special, you're not, or you're too loud, and so we don't want to relate with you. It's totally not. So my intention is actually to help the introverts in the workplace relate with others better. So back to the children, once you can confirm, it is not labeling. It is just knowing whether you're introverted or not, and then we can start adjusting. The parents need to be the one to flex now. They need to start adjusting and say, okay, because I'm an adult, I've seen more, I understand more, I understand the situation. It's the responsibility of the parents to find occasions, right timing, right timing. When you want, let's say, to go out, the child, for example, say, hey, let's go out for a drive, and go out to the for a picnic in the beach. What would they think of? When you go to the picnic, you'll observe the sun's, the sun and the seas and the sand, take photographs or read the book or look at the phone. They may not even have the interaction in the family. So let them enjoy, let them show you, indicate to you where they feel most comfortable. Now, the trick is what some experts online can tell you. It's called nudging. That means you don't force them into a place from quiet. Say, hey, get out of the room, come and talk to people. Your cousins are here, or in school, the same thing. The teachers also must be very sensitive about doing that. Say, hey, why are you so quiet? We get this a lot, right? Why are you so quiet? Is there something wrong with you? And I know my brother-in-law, my mom called him what, says, oh, he's got gold in his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This is my older brother-in-law. And he's a very smart person. He's very fluent when he speaks and communicates. He runs big company, but he's very introverted, So gold in his mouth is like very precious. Once he speaks, you know that, wow, a lot of knowledge, information comes out. Very intelligent person. So that was a bit nasty, right?
Yes.
For the adults who say, oh, gold in your mouth. So I'm glad he didn't take it negatively. So these are things that adults get, children get. So
That's a
when we
very,
don't,
that's a
yeah, go
very,
ahead.
sorry, that's a very good way to reframe it because I
Mm,
actually got caught.
mm.
Is it you cannot talk?
Oh man, wow, yeah. So
Yeah,
some
I
of this
got
can be
that.
very helpful. Now the thing about these introverts, right? The one thing I want to catch them and tell them a friendly warning is that introverts tend to think a lot, but be careful when you overthink. It's when you overthink, then you go into negativities, and that's when you start um, something negative happens to your self-esteem. And so we start thinking that whatever things that people say will be negative, you know, even if they don't mean it, they'll think, oh, this person is condemning me, say I'm stupid, I can't talk, stuff like that. Sometimes it's the choice of words they use, but because of our introvert nature, we start reading into the negatives rather than the positives. So these are things that we need to address. Adults who are adapted introverts address and help parents understand, help the children understand the introversion, and then see how we can embrace that, you know. And so yeah, it takes a process. It takes nurturing. I discovered it so late, so I'm really catching up with lost time. I want to get other introverts to adults, even like yourself, so that we can equip, empower the children to do better. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for sharing. There's lots
Mm,
of gems there. Yeah. Well, okay. I think I also want to tap on you because I know that you have a vast experience of working with introverts, adults as well, who some of them may be parents. Yeah. So let me push a bit, trying to
sure.
help my parents here because
Okay.
some parents may be extroverts, very loud, very high energy, but their children are introverts.
Mm,
At the same time, what about introvert adults or parents? Very, very, they like their safe space. They appreciate peacefulness, but their children are very high energy. Yeah.
yeah.
So probably we can talk about extrovert parents versus
Yeah.
introvert kids first.
Yeah. So when we talk about understanding, I think it's not just the child who's introverted or the introvert parent, but extroverted parents as well. Once you understand that, oh, there's this thing called introversion, and there's a lot of things that we miss out. If even introvert adults miss out, we can always understand and kind of be forgiving, right? Our extroverted parents will say, oh, hey, why is my son not like me? My DNA, I'm
Mm,
outgoing, I'm talking to people. And so the trouble is when we impose our traits, extroverted traits on the child and think that outgoing is good, being adventurous is good. Yeah, it's good to you, but let's consider, because I run networking for last 2 decades, I always say put yourself in the other person's shoe. So I think the responsibility is on the parents first. Let's just say, okay, let's put pause a moment. You're extroverted. Let's consider whether your child is extroverted like you, and or him just doesn't like people. So let's consider that first, and then we can find ways for them to slowly come out of their room. And so remember, I said nudging. We kind of bait them, I don't like compare them with uh, puppies, but in a way, we'll have to bait them and tell them, say, hey, we are here, we are okay. When you're ready, come and talk to us. For example, if they are doing their okay, so the problem with the highly introverted individuals is that when they go into the solo mode too long, and so
mm,
that is a bit dangerous, because it's true. This is true. Not to scare the parents. There are introverted children, when they are in solitude too much, they
mm,
become isolated. There are dangers of depression setting in.
mm,
And this is a fact that a lot of introverts are more prone to depression than non-introverts. So that one is where the health experts can come in, the mental wellness and all that. So that's the
mm,
thing that we want to look out for. If the child is a special need, that's a totally different area altogether. That might
mm,
be a special need. There might be some old hurts, for example, that needs to be addressed. So that's when the therapists, the counselors, all that can come in.
mm,
Yeah, not our area but for parents, we just need to be aware. We just need to give room for the person and space. Let him find his time, because the introverts need to recharge, right? Even family dinner, can be very stressful. They want to be done with their makan, and then they go back to their room, right? So if they give you that 15-20 minutes, make the most of 15-20 minutes, but we don't have to get them to, hey, talk lah. So I would think, find something interesting to them. Yeah, the extrovert, find something interesting to them. Let's say the person, the individual child likes to, I don't know, dabble in art, for example. Then let's talk about art, so for example, I don't know whether my daughter's watching. I picked up a bit of calligraphy. I'm going to pick up a bit of calligraphy because she's very interested in that, and she's highly introverted. Yeah, so I hope she won't kill me about saying that. But I want to appreciate art with her. Yeah, so this is where, so we can find ways, and there are a lot of creative ways for us to find something of interest to the introvert child. Yeah, so put ourselves in the shoes. Yeah.
You are an awesome father because you are doing something that your child likes and something that is not within your field of expertise.
Yeah, of course, we're trying to find something that we don't dislike. I do like a bit of photography. Of course, I got a lot of practice to do, and so if they have interest in video photography, I try to pick that up, learn a little bit. I got myself to learn ukulele, because one of them was interested. So we try and without being too uncomfortable, we can try and appreciate. So it's more up to us, to adapt to them rather than adapt to us.
Can I ask how old are your kids?
Grown up, adults. Young adults. Yeah, they came out there. Yeah, young
between 20s to 30s.
24. Yeah, mid 20s. Yeah, 24, yes. 27. Yeah.
Yes, because as you're sharing, and I'm so glad that you shared with me, and it suddenly dawned on me that our father's role is always the same, no matter how old our kids are. Yeah, yes. Because remember, I was sharing with you that I have to teach my child math, my middle child math using cooking, and my eldest child math using art and craft.
Interesting.
Yeah, and something that we parents don't do because we are so busy with our own commitments. Of course. And part of me was thinking, probably it will stop soon. Probably maybe when they are teenagers and they'll leave their fathers at home and go out with their friends. Yeah. Then suddenly when you just share that, hey, you're still learning new stuff to get in tune with your children, and it looks like to me, our father's role is always ongoing until forever.
Yes. Yeah. Lifetime.
Yeah. What about your experience? Probably you can share some I would say stories of your own experiences working with parents, and because of their better understanding of their introversion or their extroversion, they are able to better relate to their kids.
What do you mean? I mean, I work with parents for introverted adults, but I'm not sure about working with parents on children. Is that what you mean?
Okay, probably. Okay, first I'm trying to push a bit because I
know
that
go ahead,
you
we'll try that. Yeah, we can combine our experience.
Yeah. Yes, and plus I'm always inspired by your work. Yeah, because finally there's a platform for introverts like myself to go out and really share and know someone else that actually he's just like me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And because of your platform, I begin to understand that actually my children can be like that as well. And so it turned me inward as a father because of your work, because of your sharing that, hey, actually could my child be experiencing the same thing as well? And how can a father, like because of knowledge from Mervin, help my child to grow up into a confident young adult with her introversion?
How they could adapt in school, at home?
Sure. Yeah, please go ahead and share whatever that comes, because I'm going to squeeze you dry.
Okay, no, let's see how you can approach that. Kind of children are already grown up. Let me try and think about parents who have introverted children. So I know one, actually early teens at that time.
Okay.
So now the thing is that the parent is introverted, even more introverted than me. And so this is the funny thing when the parent tells me, say, my child won't talk to me, So one of the things I'll have to consider is this. One is that stage of change when they are, they call it, there's American term to, but anyway, they're going through puberty, right? So they're going through change, and guys are even more inclined to keeping away from people, it seems, boys, than girls, it seems. So we have a lot of challenge, if we are introverted, and then we hit 12, 13 years old, and then we're seeing change. And so parents need to identify what's the difference. Is it the change, hormonal change? Is it the change becoming a teenager, or is it an introvert thing? So for the parents, and I know you have young children, right? So when they are young, so let me see whether I can. The closest I think is observe my nephews and nieces,
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
The and my children, they are more introverted than extrovert, and the cousin is highly extroverted, and that person drains the energy of the introverted children. Say, oh, let's go do this and go there. When they travel, they want to go see places, So for the parents, earlier I mentioned about nudging. We talk about them trying to get them out is when you suggest opportunities to interact, I think it would be sensitive to say find another family. I've done this before, where that means find an occasion when two families can come together. We know that they have children that might connect well with ours. So I already did the profiling, Because I know, yes, because we study people, right? So I know the parents like that. And then I will try to relate with more of the introvert mother or father than the extroverted one, because I'll tap on that person's experience. And then I'll see whether any of the children can relate. Might be a more friendly, outgoing introvert. So when you say you want to push our conversation, one of the ways is for us to nudge the introvert child first before they go and hang out with the extrovert children, hang out with another introvert who's a little bit more outgoing, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so you know what I mean? So remember I mentioned about the spectrum. You have a 80% introvert now.
Yes.
And then your child go and mix around with the 60%, 70% introvert first, rather than just throw them into the field and say, hey, go and make friends, all the guys, then 90% of them extroverts. This person will not be part of the gang, so to speak. So when we are sensitive about such things, one of the ways to nudge is to find occasions so that you can have two families, young families. When I was growing up, that's what I did. I found families so that our children can relate. We even took trips to Malacca, drove up together, and I knew that was the initial interaction when my kids were 3 years old and 6 years old. That's how I got them to mix around with introverted children. So they start adjusting at a young age, So I had to be selective in who they mix around with, without being overprotective. Really push gently, find occasions so that they can interact with children they are comfortable with. Same with parents with children coming over. You bring the extroverted children come here, they're going to drive our introvert children crazy. They'll be upset for that few hours. Dinner is going to be really boring, or they're going to hide in their rooms, and then everybody thinks, oh, your child's so rude, so antisocial. Why give them opportunity to talk about our children that way, right? So we can be sensitive, not just in studies, right? We're talking about interaction here. Find comfortable social interaction with other introverted children. A small group first, just one, just two. I think that will be one way for us to help them adapt in the socializing part.
And I caught some keywords when you are sharing.
Wow.
Yeah. You mentioned a little bit outgoing.
Yes.
Yes, and also highly selective.
Yes, that's right. So even for adults, right? I will tell them. So a lot of people think that because I network a lot. Let me throw a figure. At one time, when I was at my peak, I meet about 1,000 people a year, and we're not talking about talking to audience. I shook hands exchange name card with 1,000 people a year. Can you imagine how draining it was?
Yes.
And so if we were to meet people every day, whether 1 to 1, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 1 to 50, we need to find times to pre-charge and recharge. So there is a charging process. So I discovered. So people think, oh, wow, you network a lot. Wow, you must be an extrovert. Or I say, no. I manage. I'm very selective of who I meet. So some people say, Mervin, you're very busy. You meet a lot of people. I say, actually, I'm very selective. So I know if this person is going to drain me of an energy, very extroverted, very outgoing, going to drain me more, I make sure I will have enough a short break for myself before I meet the next person. Yeah, when talking about one-to-ones, So we schedule our time. We meet selectively, and I also don't try not to meet people every day. When I got smarter in networking, I say, okay, I just have to meet people 3 times a week. Then the other 2 times I can recharge, do my planning, and the rest of the back end stuff, right? So that's a survival mode for us, when we are in the people business. We have to meet a lot of people. One of the important things I would encourage introverts or parents of introvert children is that self-care is important. Not don't care others, If we don't self-care, then we become drained, we become tired, and it affects our communication with others. It definitely does. And so the negative things that show on our face, body language and facial expression, so people misinterpret and misread and say, oh, you look snobbish, you're arrogant. They don't realize there's a lot of processing that goes in our minds. So when parents know that the children are processing, one of the good things for introvert parents, not just extrovert parents, is that when you learn to observe your child, you become aware what he likes or she likes, and when is the best time to get them to say something, right? To get them to talk. So definitely the home should be ideally. I mean, not everyone is blessed with a perfect, comfortable, cozy home, but I'm saying that where we can, parents can play a part to make the home comfortable for the child, and before exposing him or her to, interacting with bigger groups out there.
Yes, and what you say is really interesting because it got me asking myself and we know that as introverts we do not like to be around with too many people. Yes, and somehow I wonder sometimes when our children go to school, and because the classroom is really big, so noisy, and some kids are highly extroverted, making a lot of noise, and the introvert kids get drained. And after that, they have tuition after tuition, and sometimes as a parent, they may not understand that their energy is totally flat, and yet pumping in more activities for them straight after tuition, and talking about your pre-charge and recharge.
Yeah.
So how can parents actually be more aware in this kind of situation and help the kids at home also?
So the first thing is identifying, right? So you recognize. Recognize is the first step. If they don't recognize, there's a problem. And for the adult or the older child, the introvert, once he's aware of introversion, and then we talk about the positive things of that, I think that will be useful, because it's really the mind, and especially the introvert who thinks a lot. Once we understand, and then our mind tells us, okay, these are good. We have good positive traits. And it's, I don't go into the NLP mode, or Anthony Robbins, but the self-talk is really useful, because once we know, hey, good, I've got a lot of positive things about myself. No, these aren't bad. And so when we put that in our young children growing up, especially 3, 4, 5 years growing up, right, going pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, then they start children. We throw them into a big group, 20, 25, 30 children. Can you imagine how they are? So I'm glad those are not long sessions when they are toddlers, right? They are not long sessions. Okay. After that, they come back. You have to really observe the child. Not that something wrong. The one that cannot handle the crowd, the audience, like you say, overwhelmed. Don't even go. I don't even want to talk about bullies yet. I'm just saying that don't even talk about that. That's another issue altogether. They tend to pick on us who are quiet, right? But I'm saying just the size already overwhelms the child. So be very sensitive when you just sign them up for a lot of things. No, I don't want even talk about chide the parents, and no, I'm not here to teach the parents how to be better parents. No, I'm just
Sure.
asking them to be aware of this introvert child and spare a thought for them. Or when you find classes for them, that's useful for them, see whether they are ready to take another one. Because one good one way of strategizing is, I think, if they are in one group of a lot of people, if you have a back-to-back class, I hope the next class won't be as large. And then in between, if they can have a half hour, 45 minutes of alone time, you give them their favorite. Mine used to have a favorite last time within classes, Delifrance, quiche, You just give quiche, and then I think iced lemon tea, orange juice, contented for half an hour, ready to go to the next class. But you don't have to talk to them too much now. I don't say, oh, how was the class? Oh, was it going on? And do you ask the teacher questions? Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Kill us, right? So these are sensitivity. I say, hey, if this is the child's recharge time,
Okay.
let that child give him that half an hour. Some of us need longer. For me, I've adjusted in such a way, at one time I need 1-2 hours.
Yes.
But as I learn to adjust, now I can find 15-20 minutes. I can even recharge, And because I attend networking and I talk to large audiences, I also need to get away, Other in networking events, when others go for the smoke break, I go for my introvert recharge, I get away for 2-3 minutes and I recharge,
Yes.
And so say, okay, let's not have any interaction for these 2-3 minutes, and I can go back and start interacting again. So be sensitive to the child in this regard. Don't you want to pack? I can understand. We're all busy. All the best is Saturdays and Sundays or some weekday nights. Then spare a thought so that give him that 45 minutes in between. Let's not do a back for them, especially the introvert one. And if really have to, don't have a big class. Have a big class and then maybe a small one-to-one, tutoring, for example, or smaller group session, and then before they go to the next one. I think that would be helpful to the child and say, okay, I'm adjusting. I think so.
Yes. This is a great reminder for myself, because sometimes for my child, after school, and I know that she's an introvert because she's like a mini me. So I caught myself asking her many questions about, so how was school? Do you have any homework? Got do or not? Yeah. So questions after questions, and I realized that, hey, actually, this is something that I personally don't like as well. If my parent keep on asking me after a long day of work, I'll be super sian. I'll be super frustrated. Yeah. So okay,
here's the clue. Here's the cue. If let's say we tend to go into our parental mode, understand because we want to do our best for them, right?
Yes.
So say, James, so how's the classes now? No, what the teacher say? Is there any homework? Once you see the child not respond, then you back away. Why force an answer, right? So that's one of the cues that the child is really zoning out. He's zoning out. The introvert child tends to zone out. And when you observe and say he's zoning out, okay, I leave him be for a few minutes. When he's ready, there are signs, then I will ask the questions and spread it out. Pace yourself.
Yes, this is great for parents who are highly self-aware. And nowadays we know that the parents themselves also form network. Like they mix around because their children are classmates. Yeah. So let's say this parent who is highly self-aware, and she also observed that her parents' friends have an introvert child, and yet squeezing the child out of her energy. So what can this parent who is highly self-aware say or like hints to the parents so that their family can be I would say that can help the child?
That's a very good one.
Yes.
Now we have you really analyst. So you see we have the parent who's a bit more experienced, adapted, self-aware. That's good. But this self-aware one may not be willing to help others. They will say, okay, I got my own cares. But if this self-aware one say, hey, I've got a friend there and I see the child having challenges, then my helpful nature steps up. So that's a very positive thing, So this is what I've done before, but maybe slightly growing up is when I see the younger children, because I got a lot of what you call nephews and nieces, right? So of course, if it's someone I know, I will have to, I will try and talk to the person in a very respectful way, Diplomacy, is really essential, because who are you to teach me, I got 5 children, you got 2, they have all this kind of resistance. Why set up the defense, right? So we make observations first. So one of the ways I do is, if the parent allows, I try to come in and be the mediator for the parent and the child. And then when I get the chance, I'll tell the parent what I just did. So, for example, I observe the child likes a certain thing, and I just observe. This is what they told me, Chinese New Year. They say, hey, you're quite good with the young children. I said, the thing is that everybody thinks the babies and the children want to go goo goo gaga, and say, hey, go play with the child. And then I'm saying that once I observe the child first, and then if the child is extroverted, then I'll pick up my extroversion and have a chat with the child. But if the child is introverted, really focused on his art or her art and what have you, I'll observe first. And then when she notices me, I'll put in a gentle question, say, you like that, huh? Then they'll Then that's when you do the bait, Then you try to engage them, and they of course they'll have to like you, So I think we want to position ourselves as parents, say one parent to another, and say, oh, I noticed your child. He's very creative. He likes to be by himself. I think I would do this. Is what I do. Sometimes I'm very capable. I say, I notice he really enjoys his alone time. And I might do this and say, I can understand, because I used to be like that. I'm an introvert. If I can talk about that topic about introversion, then they say, huh? Oh, you are. Oh, you got kids too. So if I win over the parent, then I may help him win over the child, and then kind of connect them. I apply my networking to the parenting by showing them, okay, this is how you do it. What I just did with the child is that I observe first, and then I find opportunities to make conversation. Only when he's ready, he will talk to me. When I see the sign is not, I back away. So I think it's really role modeling, a bit of demonstration, And I also like to observe parents who are observant or visual or not. If they are visual people, then they need to see how I do it, So sometimes so these are ways I think we support other parents' observation, not in a condescending or judgmental way, but tell them, hey, I can understand, I can relate with your child. So if he's friendly, it's open, then I say, you have any challenges, how can I help, Are there articles that we can share? Stuff like that. That's when we want to go out of the way to help another parent.
Wonderful. Yeah. So let me just put it into quick steps for the parents.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. This is what I do. Problem sums, maths. Maths. So must list out for the parents the step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay. So correct me if I miss anything. Okay. So what I'm hearing from you is first you need to make yourself relatable. Because the parents need to feel that you are like her, and not someone just coming top down and say, hey, there's something wrong with you, go and do it, go and change it, if not your life will be over.
Yes.
So I think it's pacing as well under NLP. So I think one thing that I thought will be good for even for myself as a parent is when we talk about the kid, do not talk in front of the kid. Talk it as like talk to the parent one-on-one. So it's the same thing as we do not want to be criticized in groups. We do not want our bosses to give us critique in a big group. Wow, sian, our whole day will be like Pew! So at the same time, I think one thing that I share with parents is always share your intention. And sometimes intention, like the reason why I want to share is because I thought you are an awesome parent, which is praise. And maybe you can do something like that to better know your kid. So sometimes when another parents hear intention that's good, they tend to soften and the defenses will drop.
That's right. Then they open up. Agree.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are good ones.
Yes. Okay. And I also want to share that also ask you a question because you have so much experiences, and for Mervin, this introverts network is not just in Singapore, right? It's like all over the world.
Yeah. No, no, no. All over it's Asia. So
Yet,
anyway, it's just in a.
not all over the world yet.
Not yet. Wow. Okay. You're more optimistic than me. I tell you,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I tell you, this is a challenge, and this I cannot hide. It's not a secret anymore, right?
Sure.
I tell you, because I wanted to get the introverts to come out of their cubicles, right?
Sure.
To get from online to offline. That's the big challenge already, If they show up at the meetups, I'm so happy. I say, wow, okay, another person out of the cubicle and willing to meet others. So
Nice.
starting a network and a community it really has some challenges, but I press on partly because I have a team lah. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's in Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, and Malaysia. Malaysia, I'm having some challenges. I don't know. I thought they are similar to us,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm working with a few Malaysians, in KL, PJ, to help me run the network there. Yeah, that's right.
Great. So for parents, yes, if you are listening to this or you're watching the replay, uh, if you are an introvert like me and you think that you can connect with Mervin to help yourself as well as reach out to other introverts parents, it will be a good way to connect with him. Okay, one last question is I thought it's something that as a parent I also feel helpless lah, and I know that my kids are in school and they have big classes and both are introverts and they need time to recharge. Yeah. So what are some of your suggestions for parents that their kids cannot escape from the big class?
Hmm.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that they can do as individual to recharge and knowing that the classes for different subjects are all back to back.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
sometimes the teachers are probably all extroverts and it's going to drain the energy out of the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised because even the introvert teachers may have forgotten that they were like that growing up. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're talking about achieving goals, ma. I've got to do this in 60 minutes, and so I got to push the child, lah. So
Mm-hmm.
I this is when you think about shopping, this is how you take rest, right? For me, if the shop is something I do not like, I'll get away and go to a quiet place, have my coffee, and zone out. So if
Mm.
there is a place, I imagine some of these enrichment classes probably have cafes. If you can find one that is away from the crowd, you just need to get away from the crowd for a while. You see, when you
Mm.
stick around with the center, then they tend to meet the other children, and then
Mm.
when the parents come over, the parents talk to you and then talk to your child, and then the other child wants to talk to him. He may not want to talk to another child for another 20 minutes or so. If there
Mm.
is any break, I think that few minutes away from the people. So for me, in some of these cafes and networking, I always tease joke with my INA members and friends that
Mm.
you want to look for me, I'll be at the corner or behind a pillar. So that one
Mm.
is so of course to the sensitive introvert may say, what are you trying to say? I'm a
Mm.
wallflower. No, no, no. I'm saying that when I get to the pillar, less
Yes.
people will notice me, and I just zone out. I do my own thing for that few minutes. It's very precious in that sense.
Mm.
So I think you get them away from the classrooms, get away.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if there's something they like to, if there's a few minutes, I don't know. Maybe if there's a game, we call amusement,
Mm-hmm.
a place for them to play games, for example. Just for that 3-4 minutes, that might be helpful also.
Mm-hmm.
Give them their favorite snack, and then go to a place where they can view people, sit behind a pillar, find a bench somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for me, one of the things I like the scenery, right? If the child likes, then ask them to observe the train, or people passing by or something like that lah. So just get away from the rooms, get away from where the commotion is. To them it's commotion because they don't want too much
Mm.
noise. And yeah, so it's just getting away. I think I'm sure there are places around you uh, can find. Yeah, yeah.
Sure. What about primary school kids? I understand where you're coming from. Say for recess time, probably they prefer to sit alone,
Yes,
eating their
yes,
bread
yes.
and drinking their Milo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what about let's say because I saw my kids' timetable, it's like probably like 9 to 10 is one lesson, then 10 to 11 is another lesson, and it's content intensive. Yeah, so what can a child do as an individual in your experience that yes, that she can be aware that she has to recharge and how can she recharge even while the lesson is going on?
Oh, recharge while the lesson is going on. That means no chance to get out.
No chance to
Wow,
get
that one,
out.
wow,
Yeah,
that one's a,
yeah,
wow, I haven't got one thought of mine.
yeah, because I think that this as you're showing more and it opened up my eyes and my world that probably many introverted kids are facing that. And sometimes, as adults, we may be very fast on judging the child. Hey, wake up! Why you so now? But actually, the child could be like, oh my God, this is like when will this end? I'm so dead already.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, okay, of course, now because we have the phone, I'm not sure whether we allowed the phone in the class.
Cannot
Yeah,
on the
yeah. So
phone.
not the phone. So definitely we have to find something else that will take their mind away from the. Well, I don't have something, to be honest. I don't have something that comes out of mind.
Sure, it's
I
okay.
think parents need to have a brainstorming session. Brainstorming session, especially the parents are introvert children.
Yes,
I imagine, I think one of them is if let's say, I think for those who read, I think what they like, they'll bring their own books if they are allowed. During the in between, they don't read anything academic. Just that 2 minutes or so might help if they are allowed. I'm not sure whether they're allowed. I know doodling helps. Doodling may help. Yeah, so that might be one way if they are not barred from doing this. If you can have a short doodle, partly if they are, but need to discipline them on that part, because when they doodle too much, they so focus on that, then they don't hear what's going on in the class. But if they can get away and just doodle for a while, and then put it aside and go back, if we can help the child say, hey, I can understand, maybe you want to take short breaks. You just go to your book and doodle something or write some thoughts down. Write something that you like to do after class. Is there a friend you like to call, in the evening or something? Just write down, get away do something, write something, draw something. I think it might help.
Awesome.
I know. As adults, we do that, right? We doodle, we get away. So they might be the introverts, the doodlers.
Yes, it's true. And as you're sharing, I think it in my experience, it only reminded me of the educators or teachers who have taught me who are highly self-aware that they allow such rules to be banned. What I mean by that is because first of all, doodling it could be banned in the classroom because it is equivalent to not paying attention, and even kids who zone out sometimes because of the public stigma that those who zone out are actually not paying attention. Yeah, but probably they're just finding space in the world so that in their own world so that they can zone back in to listen to the teaching.
I don't know whether this is disallowed or whether the psychologists or counselors will challenge me on this. I'm wondering, that when we were young, and even my kids, they played with this rubber, what I call shredded rubber, is it? I mean, eraser. I don't know. I mean, if they can just do something else, during that period, they might be able to refocus, just get away for a few seconds, that might help. I'm wondering whether the twirling the pen is a way to recharge. I'm just wondering, or is that a distress? I don't know. Twirling the pen. Yeah, I'm just wondering. Twirling the pen also might be. So I think if we can just brainstorm and come up with simple ideas, it might be good for parents. That's a good one you asked me. Wow. I have to go back to the adult parents of introvert children and start asking, hey, John asked a great tough question, but it's so realistic, so practical, so maybe I'm sure it'd be helpful, so something to give a thought to, man.
Yes, and I like to do this because I think these are real issues that our children are facing in school, and not all our children are fortunate enough to meet. Okay, they may have good teachers in the class, but I'm talking about those great teachers who are wise and they totally understand the kids' needs. Yeah, and in my own view, there are only a very few good teachers who told me that it's okay to zone out, it's okay to doodle, it's
Wow. Yeah.
okay to just rest for a while. But as long as you're listening to me, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because
good.
it takes someone who is also brave
Yeah.
to dare to bend the rules a bit just for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because I was scolded when I was younger while shredding my eraser into bits.
Oh, you're one of those.
And yes. And I don't know why I'm doing it, but it helps me to focus. And my teacher came over and just scolded me lah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but I was trying very hard to listen.
Yeah, she's not aware you're trying your best, you know. So yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so in this past 1 hour, you have shared so many words of wisdom. Yeah. So for parents, because we are so busy, what will be one useful tip that parents can use right now? That hey, actually I can do it right now lah. And the children they are coming back from school soon. So what can I use now?
For the child, the returning home from school, introvert children.
Yes, something that to help them to improve their relationship with their kids.
I think there are only probably two ways where we can get information from them. We need the information, right? So
Awesome.
one is to asking questions. But if they are not ready to take questions, then the other one is observing.
Yeah.
So I think the application would be if they have been the parents who come back and say, hey, how's school? Instead of driving home the questions, I think we just be quiet. Then the child will start noticing, So you just be as quiet as a child, not mimicking, not mocking them, Just speak less. I think this might be something useful if you've been always asking questions and talking. Hey, how talk to her, talk to mommy, talk to daddy, Come back and just be quiet. Walk. I would do this, I fetch them from the gate, cross the street, and walk, and don't not say anything, If they feel they want to talk, then I may ask a question. So I think that will be an application and do a switch. That means instead of talking, asking a lot, be quiet for that the short walk back home or up the lift. And then we get home also, just one question, you hungry? That's it. Oh, what would you like to eat? I give you that, So no questions, no, yes, no, minimize, lessen. I think that will probably one tip lah. Lessen the questions and lessen the talk because they just want to zone out. Let them zone out. I think that may be something useful lah.
Yes, and it sounds to me like it's like I can wrap it up as TO, talk and observe.
Okay, wow, you see lah, the brilliant one, so creative, putting all this to remember, So that's how you do that's how you teach your kids.
Yeah, there's a parent who share that she journals as well, or she gets her child to journal, and she said it's useful.
Journaling is good. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, so, and just now you want to share something before I interrupted you.
No. I just want to say because maybe I mentioned if we get to come out because you mentioned Introverts Network and Quiet Impact. So I just want to mention the logos are up there on my virtual background.
Yes.
If they want, can go to the website. The distinction is INA, Introverts Network, is a community, it's a networking platform. Whereas Quiet Impact is more the teaching and coaching and training. So we put up an article if they're interested. If they're interested to understand parenting, introvert child, we've got one article on quietimpact.asia. They can have a look at that.
Yes,
that's the Facebook page. Yeah, but the The website is introvertsnetwork.asia, but the quiet impact is quietimpact.asia. Yeah, so that one is more teaching and training that we started last year. So yeah, we even planning webinars for parents, maybe August, September. And then we will run a workshop for parents and their child in December. Yeah, so it's all on our website, quietimpact.asia, if they want. Yeah, so yeah.
Yes, and the parent who asked about the journaling part is actually Kiali.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she asked
She
question.
asked or she recommended?
She recommended and asked.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
Yes.
To journal anything the child feel comfortable to just get away from the interaction, no? And the talking, and to them it's noisy lah. They cannot be overstimulated. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. So for parents, if they want to get in touch with you, because probably they may not first get in touch with you about their kid. They may want to ask more, like how I started off. They want to know more about themselves
Sure,
because
I'd be
they
happy.
are an introvert.
Sure, I'd be happy because I got my own experiences to say. I didn't reveal everything today,
Yes.
but I've talked to a lot of parents. I know a lot of adults, what they went through growing up. Sometimes it has impact on their adult life. The introversion became a setback for them because of the way the parents didn't handle them properly, or teachers didn't handle them properly, or they were exposed to nasty kids. And so they are really quiet. They totally shut out, and we're not talking about teenage. They totally shut out and not talk to anyone. And so we wonder whether there's something wrong with them. So I think first level, just find out whether they're introverted or not. Yeah, and then if they have deeper issues, I think they should get help. I mean, now schools have counselors, I think, get help. So I don't know whether I can do this now, whether teachers will hate me for saying this now. For me, I don't think I stress the teachers too much or my children, but I think if my child has challenges as an introvert and there are things happening to him in the school, because I saw it when I come back, I think I want to bring up to the teacher, and say, oh, I hope you don't mind, my child is a bit introverted. So I was wondering whether, can not spare him, but at least just thought you'd be aware that he's a bit introverted. He's got a lot of ideas. When given a chance, he does speak up. But I just thought maybe you'll know that he's actually quiet personality. There's nothing wrong with him. That might be good if they dare respectfully tell the teacher, say, hey, my child is introverted. I think it's just an awareness. It's not a labeling. Yep.
Yes, and I think I also resonate with that because in the triangle network of a child, there's a parent and there's the teacher on the other two ends of the triangle.
That's right.
And I thought that because here we are here to serve the child, to help him to be educated. So I think the parent and the teacher should always be communicating, and also in a respectful way.
Yes,
because we actually do hear of not so nice experiences, which is not part of this sharing. But I think for the child to blossom like a flower, the parents and the teacher should come together and communicate in a respectful way.
Agree.
Yeah, and to be able to be open to share. And it's no one's fault. The teacher may lack something that the parents know. The parent may lack something that the teachers know. So let's exchange information, and in the end, the energy flows to the child.
Yep, good one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. All right, so we have come to the end of the sharing, and Mervin, I still have one more question now. Don't go off first.
Okay.
And it's a question that I always ask my guests. Yeah. So now you're very successful in your own rights, connecting with thousands of people across 2 decades. And of course, I believe that you've transformed many people's lives. So now, if I invite you to go down the memory lane to your younger days, and then as you're walking, you saw the 12-year-old Mervin preparing for his PSLE. Then you have PSLE. You have, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So what will you say to Mervin? So imagine you're talking to him, you can almost touch him. He's just there looking at you and waiting for your answer. So what will you tell him?
Wow, that's a good one.
Mm.
If I recollect, I was a good student in primary school. Good student, primary school only. Yeah. Well, I'm fortunate I got to a good school in secondary school. I think if I was 12 or 13 at that time, I would, okay, if I was 12, I think I would not have applied for that school. I went to a boys' school.
Oh.
Okay, a top school.
Wow,
so
smart kid.
so only the smart kid. I'm not one of the smart one. So my challenge, of course at that time I was thankful at 12. My parents got me to decide. I wish they had me decide. Now the parents want to decide for the child. For me, they say you go and decide, because I had 8 siblings. So I was the younger few, and at that time I was a smarter one, only academic. So I don't know whether I felt the pressure that I had to be in a good school. I wish I had gone to a mixed school, because I think I would have performed differently, because when I went there, it was really full pressure. And it was really a challenge, because I'm not smart, it's just that the environment wasn't suitable for someone who needs to be really assertive, really, I wouldn't say extroverted, but really assertive and really competitive, and I wasn't competitive in that school. So I had challenges, and it affected me. I got migraine, at an early age, and suffered for about 5-7 years on medication. So I'm not blaming the school, but I think I don't, this election year, I'm not blaming I'm not blaming the education system, but maybe if my home setting was there to kind of help me say, is this the best place for you? Because I tend to be anxious near exams. And so that worked against me. So I really had to do a lot of things in order to catch up in later life, and then studied further, as an adult, to catch up with the rest academically. So 12 years old, you asked, is very interesting, because that's the time I got my PSA results. It was good enough to get in, but I myself wasn't ready to be as competitive as the other boys in that school. So I won't call it a regret, but I'm saying, since you asked me the question, I said I'll go back to my child and say, hey, you don't have to get good at a school, no? Maybe you can go to one nearby, a school nearby. That's not too bad. My brother did very well in a mixed school, not top school, but he did very well, and he's a very successful person. So we with some help from parents, that would have been good, lah. I don't blame them, but for myself, old Mervin to 12-year-old, I say, hey, you don't have to go to that school if you want to. Long story. I'm telling you a long story. Yeah.
It's
so,
great. It's
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
It's great sharing.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to you talking to my introvert gang.
Really?
Yeah. You spoke to them a few years ago. Yeah.
Uh,
And so maybe the younger, the newer ones haven't heard you yet. So we can connect again.
Sure.
My turn. Their turn here. Yours. Sorry.
Sure. So thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.
Don't go off yet.
Okay.
Don't go off yet. I will just stop the Facebook Live, and then we'll
Okay.
just do a wrap up. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so parents, with this, we have Mervin Yeo, and he's an expert in his own niche, connecting introverts and bring them out of their cubicles. So parents, if you are an introvert yourself like me, I think it's definitely a good idea to connect with him. Yeah. Okay, so take care, and we'll see you around. Yes.